Okay.
Wonderful. I'm with Chip Morton. I'm so excited. I'm a huge football fan, Chip. And so you're the strength and conditioning coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. And my husband grew up in Cincinnati area, Kentucky, and so he's a huge Bengals fan. So I watch almost all the games.
All right. All right. Thanks for supporting us.
Yes. And so now when we're watching the game, are you actually on the field during the game?
Yes. Yes. Our game day responsibilities, mine in particular, people for the term get back coach. That's kind of one of our main things on game day. But beyond that and behind the scenes, it's more of a support role. Our work is done all year round and during the week. And on Sundays, for the strength staff and myself, I have an assistant and 2 part-time assistants. We're there really as support for the players. So warming them up, getting them ready, stretching them, make sure they're hydrated and fed, psychological encouragement, whatever it might be. We're kind of behind the scenes.
Recruiting process at all?
Well, in professional football, more or less, you have draft picks that you pick out of college, and you have free agents that will visit after the season goes. So more or less, if we have that would apply more to a free agent, a veteran player, finishes contract with one team and is looking around at other teams. I'm part of that process where sometimes they'll want to come talk to me and see what our program's like.
Right. What do you look for in a player?
Well, we look for professionals, players that know how to prepare themselves, take care of themselves, whether it's eating right, resting right. They have to have a certain amount of character that helps, and a certain football IQ, knowledge of the game. We're looking for good people that want to work hard.
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
Now, when the guys are coming out of college, and they come to you, even though, as I said, I'm a huge fan of football, so I watch, college and pros too. So even as much experience as you think they have in college, the pros has got to be completely different. So how do you bring them from, college kid to professional athlete?
Well, the game is the same, but that's where the similarities end. It's at this level, it's faster, it's more competitive. The level of play is that much higher because now you're playing with grown. It's no longer 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Right.
Now it's 22, 27, 30-year-olds that have a lot of experience. They're grown men, so to speak.
Right.
So one of the big adjustments for college players, the speed of the game, the day in and day out grind of practice and preparation, film study, the length of the season. That's another thing. Most college teams are getting ready to wind up their seasons now, the regular season.
Right.
We have 5 or 6 more games.
So what do you do in their training?
Well, we've got to educate them. We have to educate them on why the players we sign or the players that are drafted are normally the best players in every team. So they obviously they are gifted football players. They have a lot of certain talents or abilities. It doesn't always mean that they've trained right or know how to take care of themselves. They've been exceptional at every level. Our job is really to educate them on what they need to do to stay at this level and to be effective at this level. And that's where, because it's such an equal playing field, everybody's talented in the NFL.
Right.
Some of the difference makers are knowledge of the game, film study, knowing your opponent, preparing appropriately, being rested, being fit, whatever it may be. And the physical dimensions, that's what we work on, educating them on why it's important to take care of your body, not just lifting weights or running or stretching, but how to get, the importance of rest, the importance of nutrition, the importance of, good habits in their lifestyle. We just, our job in our room, when we take it, Jeff Friday, my assistant and I, we also try to help develop the man as well as the football player. So it kind of becomes a well-rounded maturity and just kind of help and mentor them through that whole process.
You mentioned rest a lot. I think even like an average person, they don't really really often see the importance of getting enough rest.
Sure. It's things like sleep research, rest and recovery. That's the big dimension that can make a huge difference in football, and I think for our day-to-day lives. some of the research now in sleep is just now becoming important on even weight control and productivity and alertness, all these things. Hours of sleep at its most basic level, just simply hours of sleep,
right.
At least 8 or 9, but then you can get into circadian rhythms and the effect on hormone levels and body fat storage. I mean, it's a far cardiovascular health. It can all be tied in. There's research now coming out. It's all can be tied into how much getting enough rest.
Getting enough rest.
The importance of that.
Right.
And it's the old 8 hours, 8 9 hours of sleep,
right.
and time before 11, and it's stuff that we're always told, but there's now we're finding out more about the science of sleep,
right.
and the impact it can have on our health and well-being. And that's just one aspect of the recovery process for our guys. And then you bring in nutrition and hydration and psychological recovery as well.
I know, and these are all questions, if you have time, that I want to ask you. So
how long's your show?
It's an hour.
We're going to do a PBS special.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
a documentary.
We're working on that,
okay.
actually.
Well, I'm in.
All right. So, when it comes to nutrition, do you have like individual players on certain nutritional plans, or is it more of a team nutrition?
It's both.
How do you really monitor what they're eating or not eating?
To answer the first part, it's really, we have sweeping kind of, it's not a great word, but generalizations for the group. As far as here's the macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs you need to perform. Hydration for everybody.
Give me an example.
Well, with our guys, we'll always emphasize lean proteins. Chicken, fish, even lean beef, pork.
I saw the Chick-fil-A van out there.
Chick-fil-A.
Are they a sponsor of the Bengals?
No. Here's on Fridays. Okay, here's our Friday. On Fridays, we cater lunch for our players.
Oh, okay.
And I try to. And you came on a day where it's a really fun day.
Oh.
But normally we have restaurant vendors come in on Fridays, and normally we'll have a lean protein, maybe a starch, a vegetable,
like baked potato.
Well, we'll do like let me think of what we had last week. Normally it'll be some type of beef dish, beef tips or something which is not really lean, but a beef or chicken dish, a potato or a pasta, and like a salad. It went from my first year here, we had pizza and Popeye's chicken. Can I use trademark? Can I use trade names?
Sure.
Great stuff, but is what we want for our guys for fuel on a Friday. So
right.
We're thinking in terms of we start now. It's really our last day of practice. We have a walkthrough on Saturday, so now the clock starts on recovery and preparation for Sunday.
Okay. So today's
a sub clock. In other words, we worked all week and fed them here and talked about recovery and those issues. And now you have Friday night, Saturday to really get some rest and really fuel up and get ready for Sundays. And this Friday after practice lunch started that. And so for us, Chick-fil-A was the next in that fast food genre.
Right.
Really the better choice.
You hear that, Chick-fil-A?
But I think there's a plug in there. They should be a sponsor of your show. But
work on that.
And so and the guys really like it. But we've also branched out to other vendors where I'm trying to make it enjoyable,
right?
And yet get good nutrition in the guys. I want this Friday. I can call it. And my old assistant gave me the term make the meal a toe tapper.
A toe tapper.
In other words, the players when they're eating, they're smiling. They're so
excited.
Good. It's so good they're tapping their toes.
Right.
So that's what we like on Fridays. And Chick-fil-A today was part of it.
Oh, very fun. Okay.
Yeah. So.
I wanted to ask, so do you train the defense differently than you train the offense?
Really are, and this goes kind of back to the nutrition. Let me answer the second part of that. Collectively, we have generalizations for the group, but also individually. We have players that may need to lose some weight, lose some lower body fat. We have players, young guys that don't have any energy. Well, let's look at how you're eating and how you're hydrating. So we'll handle the group as a whole with some group dynamic aspects of nutrition, but also individually handle players with their individual needs. And the same with training. We have a generalized template for what we want to do on a given workout for our players. for us, we break our strength training into really 5 basic movement patterns. One would be a squatting movement, which would entail max hip flexion and max knee flexion. Squatting with barbell squat, kettlebell front squat, body weight squat. I mean, you can squat many different ways, with many different implements. Will include a hinging movement where the hips hinge back. That's a max hip flexion movement, minimal knee flexion. Jumps, deadlifts, cleans, the Olympic lifts.
Cleans.
An explosive Olympic lift, basically,
okay.
where you bring the weight to the shoulders in one motion. Pushing and pulling exercises.
How many hours do you work them out a day?
On Mondays, we'll train. The minimum for the group is we'll train generally the day after the game on Mondays, and that's about an hour allotment of time. And then half the group will go on Wednesday, half on Thursday. And that's about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And then the practice squad developmental players will go a third day on Friday. So they're getting under 2 hours a week, but they'll come in and do odds and ends on their own extra work. So we'll have a group. A template for the group.
I would have thought it would have been more than that, actually.
Well, I mean, here they come in. We'll start, let's say, on a typical Wednesday. Our first lifting group is 6:45, so they're in there by 6:30 in the morning, and they'll get out of there. They'll get out by the time they're showered, colds up and all that. It might be 4:35, 5:30. It's a long day.
Right, long day.
The demands on the players, they're extraordinary. Physically and also emotionally, psychologically. Certainly, people always say, well, they're paid so much and that'd be easy. Well, it's not easy.
Well, if it were easy, anybody could do it, right?
So it's